Neat. Hello and welcome to another video, another guide video in fact. Before I get on with the video, I want to thank everyone for leaving a comment on the last one. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but there's a few things, well, along with that, there's a thing I wanted to cover because I totally forgot, I totally forgot the passive of Azir in the last guide video. If you were wondering what it did, because it's not as hugely mechanically, like it summons a tower on dead towers. Like there's a dead tower, you can summon a tower on top of it, and that's it. The only caveat is that you can't summon towers inside the enemy base. That's it. That's all there is to it. A few people left comments on the last video, which I thank you for leaving comments. The one that I wanted to cover in this video, because it was actually a really good question, and something that I wasn't totally sure about, so I went and tested it out in the practice tool in League, is using your ult while shuffling. Nothing special, left a comment, thank you so much, and asked if you could use, while shuffling, using your ult while using Q. And I didn't even think about it, and I also had that question in my mind because a few times I was able to move and use ult, and then sometimes I wasn't able to move an ult. So I answered as best as I could, saying, well, I don't think you can, but I'm not sure. So I went into the practice tool and just tested it out, and I found out that no, you cannot use your ult at the same time you're using your Q to shuffle. So, hello, it's me from the future. I actually just wanted to correct something because as I was watching the video and editing it, I realized that something was kind of off in the footage for when I was talking about Azir and his Q and R and stuff like that. But I answered the question correctly that was given to me in the comments. You can use your ult, you can still use your Q and ult at the same time. It's just while you can still use your ult while you're moving, doing the Q and R and stuff like that. It just takes a little bit of like prep, that's all. The length, it doesnif matter if you're moving, as long as you're moving, you can still use your ult at the same time. So yeah, that was a correction I just wanted to make. Back to the video. So if it wasn't already obvious, what we're going to cover today in this guide video it's gonna be Zoe. The devil child of League of Legends, everyone's favorite frickin', I guess, you know, lolly, whatever. I like her because she's super cool. She's also very, I like her backstory, her lore and everything, her themes. Her ability is super cool, and I just like doing big damage. Look, there's nothing wrong with doing big damage. I mean, it's like when you land the bubble and you hit someone with the Q, you're just like, that's a lot of damage. But like always, we're going to just cover her abilities really briefly and then go over some mechanics and stuff. She isn't super mechanically difficult like Azir. There aren't like there's not like, you know, oh my god, there's so many mechanics. There's mechanics there that are very subtle and small, but I think they are important to being able to play her more effectively and improving your play in some way. So let's get started. So our passive, and I'm actually gonna cover the passive today, because it is important, is more sparkles, exclamation point. Basically, it's an auto attack enhancer, so after an ability, or after using, like, basically after any ability that you use, you're gonna get an enhanced auto. You'll have like these little sparkles on your hands, and she'll clap them, and she'll send out a laser instead of a projectile, and it'll do some extra magic damage. So it's an auto attack enhancer, it does extra damage, it's part of your combos and stuff like that. Your Q is called Paddle Star, and this is your main damage ability. It has two casting portions. So the first cast, it just sends out the star, and it lingers there for like a second. Anything it hits, it deals some damage based on the distance that it traveled. And the second cast redirects it going in any other direction that you choose within range, and it does the same thing where it does more damage the more it travels. There are some funky things with it that involve resetting the damage and stuff like that, but we'll go over that in the tips and mechanics portion of the video. Spell Thief, your W, but mainly a passive and only gets inactive in certain situations. So it allows you to pick up spells that people use or from minions. So if there is a minion that has a little balloon above it, that minion is holding a spell for you, and if you kill it before anything else kills it, you get a little spell on the ground. You can pick it up, It ranges from things like Ignite, Ghost, Cleanse, to things like Redemption, Hextech GLP, or Protobelt. Either one of those can drop. I think those are the only ones that drop. It used to drop other things, but I think those are the only ones that I can't remember exactly the range of activated item abilities that it drops. But those are the ones that are the most common that I remember. So once you activate the Spell Thief, if you have an ability from an opponent when they cast a summoner spell or active item, or from the minions, you get a movement speed bonus, so it gives you some movement, and it puts up these little 3 bubbles around you. These 3 bubbles will send out little projectiles that deal magic damage, and yeah, that's about it. Your E is called Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Sleepy Trouble Bubble. When you activate it, Zoe like throws a bubble at someone or in a direction. Its length is pretty short, but if it collides with something, it makes them drowsy, so you'll see like a little thing on the ground around the enemy that you hit. You'll hear like a little song, and once the song and thing are concluded, they're asleep. They're asleep for, I think, like a second or a second and a half, something like that. And during that time, if anything hits it, any damage, even an auto attack, the bubble will deal a second portion of damage on top of whatever damage from hitting it, and it will deal true damage in form of scaling off of magic damage. So your big damage as part of the combo. So if you sleep someone, you activate Paddle Star and you redirect it, doing as much distance as possible and dealing a bunch of damage. Your ultimate is called Portal Jump, and it's the most basic ultimate you could think of. It literally just teleports you a little bit and then brings you back, and that's it. You can cast while jumping and stuff like that, so it's part of your main combo. The Paddle Star, getting as much distance as possible and dealing as much damage while using Portal Jump lengthens your abilities, gives you more range and stuff like that. But yeah, it's simply just a Portal Jump. You portal in, portal out, and that's it. You can use it to dodge. It is a utility ability. You can use it to dodge things. It's the cast time's kind of weird, so you have to time it properly, but it can be used to dodge abilities and things like that. So those are all of Zoe's abilities. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy like Azir or something like that, but they do all work in conjunction. Landing them is very important. I'd say that landing the bubble is the most important thing that you can do on Zoe. If you don't land the bubble, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of like, if you're not landing bubbles, then you're kind of useless. Because you're not CCing them, you're not giving true damage and things like that, you're not dealing a bunch of damage. It's important, just remember that. On to the mechanics and tips portion of the guide. We'll just go in order of abilities, and I'll talk about their weird mechanics and how they work. Careful of, oh my god, there's like a hair like right here, and it is there. Ha! I got it. See, right there. See? Can't see, it's pretty small, but like, it was tickling my nose for so long. Oh my god, I get so itchy. My nose!
It's so freaking itchy!
So your Paddle Star, what are the fun things about it? So if the one thing you have to remember, you don't really have to remember this, it's not something that's super important, but something interesting about it is that it will travel with Zoe. So the second cast goes a certain distance, but that distance can actually be modified if Zoe moves with the Paddle Star. So if you cast the second cast and you're moving with it, you actually lengthen the distance that the star can travel. And the star will travel 800 units past that length, as long as it's not, and if it goes past that, it'll disappear, it'll just die. So using, that's why you can use Paddle Star and ult at the same time and lengthening it. And it may seem like you're out of range of the Paddle Star, but actually it will go farther, it will hit the target. Just believe that it'll hit it, because it will probably. And that's kind of once I learned that, actually, that you can move with the star to keep it moving and it won't die out, that was really important to, like, oh, I can actually just like cast it from back here. Sometimes the fact that the Paddle Star is moving is sometimes enough to make people afraid to come near you, just because it does so much damage. So the Spell Thief, the only thing with Spell Thief, you can pick up more spells. So like if you have a spell and you don't like it and there's more spells around you to pick up, so say like a bunch of people, you just had a team fight or something and you want a spell, but there's like 5 of them around, but you want, like, say you have like Exhaust, but you want Flash. Well, you can stand over the spell that you want and it will pick it up. You just have to stand there for like a second, and it will replace the old spell. The bubble of doom. The two things that are weird. So, well, the most important thing is that it can travel through terrain. That's like the main part of the ability. If you watch anyone play Zoe, it's pretty apparent that it travels through terrain. But the thing is, it travels indefinitely through terrain, and it can go as far as long as there's terrain to go through, and it'll give you an indicator, but it only goes for a certain amount outside of it. So if you shoot through really small terrain, really like thin terrain, it feels like it doesn't go anywhere. And that's true because it only goes 600 units afterwards. And if it's about to hit a new set of terrain that it would go through, it just stops. So keep that in mind. It's like part of geometry, the geometry of using the ability. The only thing that has to, that really is kind of weird about the ability is that the damage that it deals so it deals damage when it hits someone, but then it does the true damage, right? That true damage activates first before the damage that triggers it. So if someone like auto attacks someone, like an ally auto attacks someone with the bubble on them and they're slept, that true damage will happen before that auto attack does damage. So you could end up just killing people, getting kills for randomly, that if they're out of range or something like that. That's why it happens, and it happens all the time to me, and I was always wondering why, and I learned, that's something I just recently learned. Your ultimate, the most important thing to know about your ultimate is that it always goes back, no matter what. So if you think that you can do funky things with it, no. It always brings you back no matter what. You can be CC'd, you can even use Zonias at the end of the portal, it will always bring you back. I mean, if you're hit by things like Scion ult or Urgot ult, like of course you'll go back and then you go up, you'll get sawed up, but no matter what, you are safe. The thing that this is like the only bit of advice that I'll give for this is like using your ultimate is very perilous. Because guess what happens? Guess what? You're giving the enemy information when you're using your ultimate. You're saying, I'm here, but I will come back to this position in like a second. So that gives them time to think, let me just put my abilities here instead of here. If you want to know how to fight Zoe players, there you go. There's a huge tip for you. Throw your abilities where she was, and you'll win. So use your ultimate sparingly, without using, use it with abilities. Don't just use it randomly. So yeah, that's it. That's all of her abilities and all the mechanics that really go along with her. There's nothing really that intensive. It's nothing like shrimmer shuffling or auto attack resetting or things like that. That's it. That's all of that for Zoe. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you have feedback and things like that, just leave it a comment down below. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos of mine. I'm gonna put out more guide videos just like this. I have some other videos in the works, but these videos, I really enjoy making these. Hit the like button, helps out a lot, and hit that bell button if you want to hear from me more. If you want to hear from me more, like I'm ringing the bell. No, if you hit the bell button, you'll get notified whenever I make a video. So if you want to know when I make a video, hit the bell button and I'll let you know. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.